Takes my pain back to a place I don't understand. I know, Lord, I know it's in my heart and baby down in my soul. You, baby, you can't take it no more. No, I know I'm walking out that door the way it treated me too many times before. Don't you know you love them, baby, too? Oh, you know I want you there, I wanna be right there with you. I know I gotta keep you by my side till the day I die. 'Cause baby, ecstasy is in my hand. Oh, when I'm holding yours in mine and walking in the sand. Oh, baby, you know it's fine. But now you done and piss me off. You ain't done something you shouldn't have done. Baby, I'm mad. I'm going on. Oh, I'm going on.
Well, good morning, and welcome to the Lost Forgotten channel. I am your host, as always, blah, 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 fucking blah. So, last night, I was a smartass. I know that's a big shocker. That's what you come here, folks, isn't it? Shock and suspense. As I narrate in Eeyore's voice. I wonder how many people actually fucking know who Eeyore is. Anyway, so here I have to fucking reconfigure my fucking thing because it's fucked up every fucking time I reload the fucking software. Window thing, and there it's better. So there's Nora O'Donnell's on the ground there in Houston. Great reporter. Also known as the fake news media. Oh my god, people who actually care and tell the truth and, like, you know, have careers and shit. Anyways, so if you're just joining me this morning, please feel free to sign in, give me an attitude check, tell me I'm ugly, something. Yeah. Say good morning. God forbid. Anyways. But yes, do feel free to chat if you're new to the channel. We do like for people to introduce themselves and communicate coherently and ask questions, you know, with proper grammar and stuff like that. But, you know, just do your best if you're not terribly proficient. I don't expect that of people. It's just when people don't try, that's really what pisses me off. So, it is proving somewhat difficult to get live streams from any of the people local who do live streaming stuff, to get them to go on YouTube. They always seem to have problems doing it. They say they gave up a long time ago, and apparently it's been a while since it worked for them, because all my local stations just, I don't know, it seems as long as I've had a fucking YouTube channel, they've been unable to fucking use YouTube properly. I wonder why that might be. Tried to fucking tell them. But, you know, a year ago, if you're talking about Russia taking over America, you'd have been fucking thought of as a crazy person. And frankly, I can think of 1,000 people who owe me a fucking apology. Including the people suppressing this broadcast right now. But don't worry, little dearies. You don't need to apologize. I assure you, you will be sorry. Little children, I could cause you to cease existing with a snap of my fingers. I don't mind handing out shovels. And if you want to dig your own hole, who am I to stop you? Am I the stopper? No. I'm the judge. And this is a time in which you have it written in your little book that you're supposed to be blind. Oh, but what do you think? Putin's Jesus? For fuck's sake. Look for a poor man. Look for a broken man. Look for someone who should have given up on the world because their life had been that unbearable, but still they would do anything to help everyone. And let me know when you find them, because I'd be fascinated. Wishful thinking. But if you think a bunch of people who basically represent everything that Jesus hates have the first fucking clue about what form he will take when he returns. Speaking in third person so I don't sound crazy for a second. Grow up. Just, come on. Let your brain ripen at least halfway and realize basic fucking logic. Whatever it is that Joel Osteen and Brother Nathaniel say about Jesus, you can guarantee the opposite is true. Okay? Excluding when they actually directly quote things. But, you know, they only quote things and teach what they reveal so that they can corrupt their audiences. Find a better preacher. Find someone who's going to tell you more real talk. All that anyone has been able to do in all of my lifetimes is mock me and try to get rid of me until eventually everything I was trying to teach them is proven correct, and they all suffer for it. For having what? You see, there's a flood coming. And you're out there on your tiny islands, your domiciles of ideology. And boy, the tide is rising. And we might all be swept away. But you're alright. You don't need nothing. Sure don't need my help, right? You don't gotta listen to me. I can tell you the water's rising. You ain't gonna listen. Come back. On a boat. Say, hey, I see your shoes are wet. Say, alright, it's gonna be fine. The water's just gonna go back down. Hey, all my possessions are gonna be taken from me. Because God wants me to have these possessions. Yeah. Huh. Blessed are the meek. So then, you know, I couldn't just leave you a boat, so I built you a little raft and I brought it out to you. Water's up to your knees, and I say, okay, if it gets too high, you jump on this raft and you save yourself, and you let all this worldly possessions go. You let all this worldly knowledge go. You let all these worldly iniquities, pettiness, vindictiveness, revenge, go. And just hop on that raft. I built it for you. It's sturdy. I built a good fucking raft. Ain't got no flat screen installed, but you know, get you from point A to point B, you know what I'm saying? Oh, but you had a safe full of money. You had treasures. You had knowledge. You had everything you needed right there. You didn't need nobody. You didn't need nothing else from nobody. Except for when you could use it to your own advantage. To further what you think is important. So you put that safe on that raft. And guess what? It sank. It broke apart. I didn't build it to hold all that bullshit. That's not what it's meant for. When you cram all that false treasure in there, it's a sinking ship. It can't see the horizon. Oh, but now you're really upset. Your treasure's underwater. Sorry, my spirit pressure is kind of going crazy right now. Yeah. Not that y'all are watching that anyways. I would put my webcam on, but I still got this ugly fucking thing on my head from stupid sunglasses pimple. But I don't care what I look like, whatever. Here, y'all can see my ugly ass pimple. How about that? I'll make the camera darker so I can be a little less self-conscious about it. Maybe I'll just put my sunglasses back on. Okay, that's almost better. Not quite, but... So you got your worldly treasures all sitting on your raft. You think everything's going to be fine, and just blah, 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 blah. You have a mind that's built for truth. It's built for knowledge. It's built for understanding. Right now, your mind is filled with bullshit. And that's not how it's supposed to run. That's not how it's supposed to operate. And when you accept lies, when you accept false knowledge, when you hoard and hold on to false treasure, you cannot see. You are sinking. You are falling apart. Your raft cannot hold that and continue to provide for you. So now you're really mad, like I was saying. All your worldly treasures. The water came up, and it revealed it for what it is. Nothing but a burden. And so it sinks beneath the water. It's no longer of any use to you. And now you panic. Because there's your treasure. You have all this knowledge. You've spent all this time gathering, gaining, earning. And now this tidal wave of revelation has come. And the world makes no sense to you. Your knowledge is far beneath the waterline of the tide that rose on you. And now, today, this very day, that fisherman, that carpenter, he stopped by in his boat. He built you a raft. Now he finally reveals himself as the master of fate. And you see a log floating by. And you know he sent it. And all you got to do is swim away from that treasure. Take a step off. And trust that if you just float freely for a second, you can grab onto it. And you can save yourself. You just got to close your eyes and step forward. Have the courage to. But will you? Or will you stand on your safe full of false treasure, sunken on a broken raft? Obviously, I had to put the camera on because I didn't want people thinking I was reading anything. That's what it used to be back, 20 Back when YouTube actually showed the views that I had and let people interact and let them like videos and stuff. I used to actually have people accusing me of delivering statements that were given to me. Okay. I can third wall anytime. TV there, fish tanks there and there, and I have my face right there. So if I'm looking that way, it's because I'm trying to make sure my head's in the I'm trying to make sure I'm trapped in the little box. Okay. Started feeling claustrophobic. That's when you feel like you have you're trapped in a small crotch. Yeah, claustrophobic. Anyways, I know. I forgot. I'm not allowed to make jokes. I'm supposed to just be, you know, sitting on a cloud of farts and stuff. Huh? Alright, do we have a cloud of farts for me to sit on? I think we have a cloud of farts for me to sit on. Where's the cloud of farts? There we go. There we go. Right, cloud of farts. Okay, there we go. There, now he's Jesus, because we can see him, you know, being, you know, flatulent from all the angles of the earth. My wife and I were both having fun with the fractal imaging of that particular cloud hole punch. It happened again at a time in which I was being asked for signs. I kept on being asked for signs. I kept giving signs. I kept doing all the stupid shit you petty morons ask me to prove who I am. Blah, 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 blah. I can't fucking win for losing. Just to save your ungrateful asses. Oh, this is fucking killing me. I'm just gonna talk like this for a while. Hi. Whatever. I think I proved the point. I don't need to have my face on here anymore. There we go. I'll dual screen it. That's really not even better. I can still see it. You might not be able to make it out that well, but I can. I can't just get a pimple in a fucked up place like that and not mess with it constantly. And that's why it like looks like I'm a Hindu. Welcome to the Lost Begotten channel. Now buy something or leave or blow your freaking head off. And thank you, come again. Is an Abu impersonation inherently racist? I think so. But it's funny. I love everybody, so I get to be funny. It's not my fault that none of you dumbass kids listen to me. In fact, if anybody has hope of listening to me better than most people, if they could, you know, actually be exposed to me instead of me being suppressed from their field of vision, it would be the Hindus, considering that they acknowledge at least the ancientness of their spirits. And of course, they have records similar, I'm sure, to many of my stories. Although, you know, I would really like to move on with the whole saving of the world thing, so I could do something like study the Mahabharata. Alright. Bit of an echo, huh? See if I can fix that. Is it a little less of an echo now? I wonder if I had a 3-camera effect going, a 3-microphone effect going. Now it should be down to 1 microphone. So, buenos días, Carlos. ¿Qué pasó esta mañana? ¿Cómo estás? Sweet. Congratulations, bro. Did you make it in for the lecture? Was that a good little rant? I thought I was comfortably seated on my soapbox there for a minute. That wasn't too bad, huh? I don't really get any time to watch my own fucking videos anymore, so I don't know what the hell I'm doing on here half the time. I'm certainly not able to plan out a broadcast. I've got a bunch of notes of different stuff I'd like to talk about, but this storm has me just worried as hell. And it's pouring down rain here. The water's starting to come up. Yeah, oh boy. And the kids are at school. They didn't call off school yet. They haven't sent them back home yet, so it's not turning out quite as chaotic as last year. It was just August 9th last year. They had, oh look, I'm being hacked again. Yay! Oh, it's too bad we don't have like a competent NSA that could be doing IP trace routes while that happens, you know. It'd be far too fucking easy. Wouldn't it be, Carlos? I mean, just really. It's like, what? I don't like to go into how much I know about internet shit for obvious reasons. But you and I both know that there's got to be a severe manpower shortage because of Ted Cruz's sequester. And then some. And so on and so on. For this kind of shit to be happening to me on a constant basis. Especially after, like, you know, it's been a good 3 years since I told them, look at me, I'm going to be bait on a hook for you so you can fucking track down Russian hackers and trolls. You'd think they'd have, like, put on their big boy britches and gotten her done. Huh. Like 88%. There's like, you know, there's shit being interwoven into almost every single video stream. Like, you know, like the quality reduction and the weird artifacting, that doesn't come from limitations on hardware. That comes from glitching from hacking of fucking complex, you know, MMX type calculations. And basically hiding code inside of floating point calculations. So they're using the floating point unit to unpack assembly code, basically. Yeah, that sounded dumb enough. Anyways, what do you think of that theory? That's been my going theory for a long time, and it's actually been how I was able to repair computers since like the fucking late 90s. I mean, just understanding how that works, how they get into the drivers of a video card, okay, and like hack into operating systems and affect drivers of video and sound, anything with complex numbers. Hold on, the wife is calling. That was supposed to be working the whole fucking time I did that. That was kind of the point of me switching it to that window so I could at least play the damn song while you wait. But I obviously failed. Let's get back to this stupid screen. Are you going to tackle the weather? What's with the shirt? Oh, okay. So we're joining again with KHOU, which is obviously easy for me to say. And they're showing the 42-inch fucking rainfall. 42-inch rainfall. Holy crap. You know, what did I tell you about pissing off Poseidon? pew pew, pee pee, pee pee. Okay, anyways. So, yes, plan B, paper trails, checking in person, messages. Oh, man. Yeah. I'm not going to read that out loud, Carlos. But I feel you. Or at least, I feel you back in, like, you know, back when I was up to date. Oh, did I feel that way for quite some time. Anyways, if you've successfully managed to, you know, stalk me on the internet, you probably saw that my old Geocities website is still archived, because they actually considered my old Geocities website to be one of the priceless historical pieces of their internet server. Apparently, because it was just that crappy. I don't know. But yeah, it was just my little personal thing, because I had to go and register my name back when I figured it out in '94 at everything. I think I even registered on like Alta Vista, you know, like. And Hasta La Vista, for that matter. Speaking of what we were, you know, speaking of. Hasta La Vista went to shit after like 2006, when there was no more real cooperation going on. Like it went from the Russians pretending to help us to the Russians just being like, we're just gonna fuck your world up now. And like, what's really fucked up is like, they had been helping American private intel companies with hackware for almost 10 years. Ah, fuck. Anyways. Shit, 1999, that's pretty old school, bro. And you're still in your like early 30s, right? Shit. And if you're not 30 yet, just don't tell me. Just don't even tell me. Like, I'm 26. Oh, fuck you. There you go. Good man. Good man. That is the look of a woman who is being flirted with from all sides. The hell's going on there? Who's buttering her up? Oh shit, it's the rest of the news crew. Pretty girl, duh. Anyways. So, I was a smartass last night, as I was saying earlier. And I went and put on this her video one of these videos, one of the Rachel Maddow videos, and I don't know how long after it stopped that there was just silence, but I woke up and the broadcast had been going for like 3 hours. I have no idea how long I just been sleeping on the couch right here. I think Maximo probably fell asleep too or something, because I woke up and there was still one person watching. Ooh, I need to get my Magna stuff uploaded. Ooh, I know. I can, you want to see some Magna videos, Carlos? I can do some previewing of that before because some of them, I had to like fuss at the kids to get out of the camera shot before I could pan the camera over, and like I need to edit the audio, you know, because that's not great. It's kind of funny, but you know, I'd rather not. Like get back, and like you're like on the camera. People are gonna be thinking like I was like warding off invisible enemies and shit. You got some useful rain in Spain. Hey, well, I have been trying almost once a day, remembering to actually put some focus into sending Central Europe some rain. And let me know if it makes it there, because I don't really have a convenient way to access radar weather information, but it's trying to end that drought in Italy. So yeah, I tweeted the Pope, and I told them the drought is over. Now, I was speaking metaphorically and physically, knowing that only one would wind up being true, because in order for that to have worked, you may be aware of the prerequisite. And that would have been that they, Mr. Francis, the Popey, Pepe the Pope, would have to have faith. I mean, how stupid would I be if I said your drought is over, and they reacted with, who is this dumbass? And I still ended the drought? Huh? All I am saying is give faith a chance. Alright, well, I think we can do some Magna action. Definitely got to get my fucking... Look at that crap. Look at that. It's got Neosporin on it, so it's not like that shiny, but... yeah. It's horrible. Okay, so... Amen, brother. And that's kind of... like... I hope you get this, Carlos. I try to set that same example. Okay? I've lived many, especially this one, and especially a few particular ones. I mean, just I can't even rank them, okay? This life, just by itself. Any, like, well, most people that you meet, obviously I can't say any, because, you know, you and us, and people, like my friends from New Orleans. But most people, even if they just heard the amount of fucked up, just creative fate level drama that I've been through in this lifetime, or like that my wife has been through in this lifetime. My God. They wouldn't imagine being able to still have faith. And most people that have been through half the shit we've been through, just, they mock faith. Anyways. So, let's see here. There is quite a few to choose from. I have 35 videos here. Let me show maybe some of the smaller ones. Like these. So that was just the first little cube I walked up on. What do they think when they see our faces staring at them? They think, are you gonna feed me? He's not gonna feed me. Fuck him. That's pretty much how it goes. I often thought of doing videos like just like narrating fish thoughts, because they are kind of hilarious. Not quite as funny as dog thoughts or cat thoughts, but they are right up there. So maybe I need to keep the window smaller, because it's making my fucking broadcast is going red. Just trying to actually share some fucking videos. Pedro, ¿qué pasó? ¿Cómo estás este día? Did I get the date right on the broadcast today? I got it wrong yesterday. I changed it from 27th to 29th, so obviously I skipped the 28th. Alright, what's this one? Oh, here's a little baby. Check this guy out. My camera, my Sony Handycam, it's supposed to make an MP4 of the files, and it didn't. For some reason, there's no MP4s showing up. I don't get it. I upgraded it to a 32 gig SD card, and then, but I had that SD card in my phone previously. So for some reason it kept the DCIM folder and wrote a new folder to put its videos in, but it doesn't catalog. That's a baby coral beauty angelfish, by the way. It looks like one of the cutest fucking things I've ever seen in my life. Coral beauty. that I expect to see the MP4s. What the hell? It's got a full calendar. Oh wow, and you can see little icons of the videos. How about that? Huh. 72 files. I knew I was missing something. Oh, that's got icons. Oh, holy crap. MP4s. That's telling me I got 33 MP4s. Well, why the hell wouldn't they show up with the folder? Oh, that's really annoying. Okay, so I'm going to try to see if I can find them again. It says they're on there. I'm assuming I must have just overlooked it. I don't quite get it. DCIM. So JPEGs. Okay. And MP root. And there's the MP4s, really? I checked that folder last time. Oh my goodness. Tell me that's those are MP. Oh damn. Alright. Okay. So give me 1 second. And I am going to move all these giant files into a folder. And then I'm going to copy the MP4s to the freaking thing. Alright. It's saying I got 63 of them. I knew I was fucking missing some. Alright. Yeah, so the MTS's, 35 of them was 7 gigs. 63 MP4s is 1.82 gigs. Huh. Alright, so I got a bunch of my traffic videos on here. People fucking driving like maniacs. I need to clip and edit. One day when I have time, I'm going to clip and edit these, and I'm going to have like a giant compilation of people driving like maniacs around buses and all kinds of shit, just from one school year, or just from one street. I might have to. I might have older videos from previous school years. I never really had a chance to make an actual compilation. I've done a couple days where it was just one day I'd go out there and just pause it between idiots and be able to make like a compilation seeming video, but that was just from being out there for 20 minutes. Anyways, depends on the day. Like, they don't always, every day, all of them drive like that, but there's some day where there's just like a convoy of fucking morons. Anyways. It does look like I have more of the Magnus stuff that I thought was lost. Oh, here's a great one. While we're waiting.
Hey, back up, back up.
super hurry.
I didn't see it. Sounds like somebody's running shit.
That is so sweet.
Yeah. Believe it or not, there are more expensive interstates. I didn't expect to see anything like this at Mecca.
I sang and did a whole walk around.
Later on, I was passing by and I like leaned under the back of it. I was looking past the diffuser at the suspension, and I was so hard to resist crawling underneath that damn thing. Lovely. Alright, so let's see here. Where's the magna folder? There we go. Like, not sure what all these are. This one's cool. 5 months. So, something tells me this guy is used to a higher salinity. Because he is on the bottom. Because I'm too heavy for this water. Let me bring it up to 028 and I'll be fine. You just lazy?
Mary's walked down the street and store last night.
Yeah, lazy old fish.
Really? She got those, but they've been showing me. Someone through beef. Ask me what he did to our beef.
What kind of eels are
Got these dragons.
When you tell dragons and radions, it's going to be $1,700 for the acres. You'll be able to see you.
Somebody here to show up.
Japanese dragon. That's pretty impressive right there. I don't see why I should be having upload stream problems. What you doing? Hey, stop making faces at me. I'm sensitive.
Turn around. Okay, you had one shot, he said.
He got his exercise for the day, huh?
It don't take much.
That's true, doesn't it?
She knows how to careful these.
Oh, come on.
Paparazzi.
Yeah.
Oh, the fans are here. He's got a bacteria problem. He's sick.
He swims a little bit.
He's got a bacteria problem. Yeah, this guy. Right here.
He's moving now. Oh,
He needs a couple of bass in Paragon.
yeah, get a video of him moving.
So maybe I can play a couple of the more impressive videos. Oh, wait, this one's by far my favorite right here. No, wait, no. Oh, it's so hard to have a favorite. Oh, so terribly difficult to have a favorite. Holy shit. Yeah, this one. This one's pretty. What's up, Mr. Saltwater Tank?
Hey, how are you? Starting my car in it.
So, USA as an affiliate and they have managed to successfully breed conspicuous angels, which are not only a rare angelfish and kind of a pain in the ass to begin with, but they breed them. They bred them. Look how many. Look at all the babies. Oh my goodness. Look at all the babies. All the babies everywhere. I breed fish, so I know just how hard this works. Oh.
Yeah, so it's just really fine stuff, different sizes, but it's just a really easy and handy way of doing it, getting them to eat. This is it's PE mysis.
Oh, that's
just run it over a cheese grater.
Freeze dry?
Get the frozen.
Frozen. Oh, really?
Yep.
Huh. Good idea.
So the conspicuous angelfish eating.
Yeah. Just there you go. Oh my! Oh, they're so tiny. Oh. So tiny.
Just good. That's a blue line.
Those are
This is actually
conspicuous
considered
angels.
a bonded pair. So actually, at settlement, we isolate them in 20-gallon tanks with a 4-step hierarchy. Create a male and female. They are protected from appetites. So a lot of people like keeping them together. So it's like impossible to keep them out there. Yeah, not small enough. You can't get the right size.
Layla won that, Mommy won that. And then won this hat.
That is amazing.
Isn't that cool?
Did you stop at a bulk supply booth yet?
I have like a living room. I have a culture.
Eating is conspicuous.
Yeah,
Where are you? Which is why you pick up. Nice to meet you. Good. Where are you guys?
So did you do this, or did you just run the people?
No, I do it.
You did it?
Yeah. I used to live in Bellerica.
Gotcha.
What's your name? Matt, okay. Yeah. You used to work at the lab. Roy.
Oh, cool.
It's like I'm not even worthy. I'm just a percula breeder. You know?
Oh, what?
I just breed true perculas.
Oh, that's awesome. The whole project is, I got my first bench fix 4 years ago, so I've been,
That was quick. I mean...
It didn't feel quick.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. But I mean, really, you got pretty lucky there. They came in from the wild as a mated pair?
What's that?
They came in from the wild as a mated pair?
No. And that's what makes it so hard is, there's only a few conspicuous that come out of the wild.
Right.
You're trying to find two that get along.
I'm telling you.
But, so the conflicts, the ones that come in, like they're spoken for, so even just trying to get one or two from the wholesalers to make a pair, it's really challenging.
It's amazing.
Since they're not sexually dimorphic, you can't tell the boys from the girls.
Right.
It's pretty challenging. So you got to go through a lot of individuals to figure out that magic pair. They finally got it.
Get about 5 to 7 of them, throw them in his tank, and see which ones get along.
It doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't.
Because once you have like a big group, it throws their whole social structure.
Oh wow.
Crazy.
That's incredible.
My favorite angel.
Really?
You know what? Like these Singapores, though.
I could just sit here and film these guys all day.
One of the biggest problems with Singapore is usually is that they don't live.
They're crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Hey.
So Carlos asked if they miss being in the vastness of the ocean. No, reef fish. You go out onto a reef, and each reef fish has its territory. Generally speaking, the recommended tank size is going to be the size of that fish's territory. Bubbles and Zoom, for instance. Bubbles and Zoom are now in a cubicle in a fucking flower pot. Why? Because Bubbles and Zoom never swam more than 10 inches from where they lay their eggs. That's their territory. They stay there, they have good hiding spots, they have good current supply of food, and that's just like where they chill. And when you go out on the reef, angelfish and butterfly fish sometimes being the exception, but can still be accommodated. So an angelfish and a butterfly fish will stay along territories that are kind of elongate up and down the reef, but they will always well, the ones that we keep, in smaller tanks anyways, they actually like to stay behind the rocks and in crevasses underneath the corals, between the corals and the rocks, and they just kind of scoot along. You know how Orihime does. Now, Orihime's territory would be bigger than that in the wild, but she'd be very likely to be eaten. So, there's your compromise right there. As long as they have food, they're happy. Fish are actually a lot like birds when it comes to sociability. If you call their names and talk to them when you feed them, they will not be afraid of you, as long as when you go up to the tank, you call their names and talk to them. Because then they're, you know, they think you're going to feed them. And like, you know, if you hand feed your saltwater fish, that a lot of them will come really tame. A lot of them will even let you pet them. But, you know, there's different results. Different fish have different attitudes. And not all marine fish are kept in the hobby. You know, there's certain marine fish that are recommended and more ideal for smaller tanks, and that's what people put in smaller tanks. And when it comes to the bigger angels that you see like swimming up above the reef, you know, like a French angelfish, or even like a rock beauty, you're talking people are going to put those in 90 to 400, 500 gallon tanks. So they got plenty of room in there. And if they ever wind up outgrowing a tank like that, people will often give that big fish back to the store, and that becomes like the store's show fish, you know. Those purple things were a thing that's made to look like live rock, which is just, you know, calcium carbonate leftover skeletons of coral that's grown over with calcareous coralline algae, which is, you know, like that purple stuff that grows on my rocks when I got my chemistry right. when my rocks aren't covered in algae and they turn purple, yeah, that's what's supposed to happen. So, Real Reef Solutions, in fact, I can just go ahead and show you, because I filmed a demo for them. Let's see here. I think this is it. But Real Reef Solutions has basically taken...
Start over. So this is a current...
aragonite, which is like, you know, beach sand, crushed coral, parrotfish poo, basically. And they have used, I think, heat ovens and compression to bind them together in the shapes of like reef rocks, and they use a food grade dye that makes them turn red like you want them, or purple. So I'm sorry, I'm talking slowly because I'm trying to look for the freaking... Okay, it wasn't that far from the fish, right? Okay, here it is. And I'm gonna upload these by themselves. I'll probably do it. I'm gonna do it before.
There's the man, DRS TV guy.
No, that's the wrong one. Oh, it was right after.
Okay, so allegedly, this Real Reef rock is different than the one DRS TV sells. So what exactly makes this different or better?
We actually use pure
aragonite, calcium carbonate to make this rock. It's not grey cement or pumice products that aren't really suitable for aquariums.
I like it already.
Here's an example of some of the materials that we use. It's pure available calcium carbonate. Man-made. Each piece is man-made, and it's actually coloured with a water-based stain, and it spends 5 months in salt water curing. So it is actually a bioactive live rock, but without problem pests, algae, aptasias. So this basically can set up your aquarium. You can fill it up right away.
And how long does the rock stay looking like that?
It doesn't change. The only way it's going to change is it will improve by early algae growing on the rock. But the color
And
is...
of course, if algae grows over it.
Yeah.
But other than that, the color doesn't fade.
Color may fade in a highlight situation over the course of 12 months, but we've had rock.
Similar to an automotive product situation where if it sits out in the sun.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair enough. I mean, what are you going to do?
The idea is to have that basic instant gratification for at least the first 6 months to a year as the coralline algae takes hold.
Especially for people who maintain other people's aquariums. You can go in there and give them what they're wanting to pay you for, and they don't wind up whining about it afterwards.
They want it to look a certain way right away.
So this is Real Reef Solutions. I like that. Very good.
Yeah, like I said, man, the now is the time to get into this hobby. Okay, like, you're basically no longer a connoisseur, you're a preservationist. You're taking little pieces of coral and growing them into big pieces of coral. And then you can give them or sell them to your friends and shit, you know? And get them to start their own fish tanks. We need to spread it like a disease. So, yeah, isn't that badass? I mean, look at that stack of rock right there behind those buckets with those two big plating platforms and that rock on top. You could just set that right in the middle of a 60-gallon cube and that would just look glorious, you know? And then on top of those buckets right there, those are the Real Reef frag plugs, which actually come in a bunch of different shapes. Check out Mr. Saltwater Tank TV's video. I forget whether it's on his part 1 or part 2, but either part 1 or part 2 has a more in-depth look at those frag plugs, which I had glossed over when I was over there. I just wanted to, I wanted to know why that was better than the other one. You know, I mean, you can shape it however you want, but the other guys are using, like, basically ceramic, and this is, well, what they're doing is fucking brilliant. Anyway. So, I got to talk to Mr. Walt Smith a few.
Alright, we are here with Mr. Walt Smith, Mr. Fiji himself. You got any words of wisdom for the kids?
All the kids?
All the kids.
Save your reef.
Save your reef. It's good advice.
Share the ocean's mystery.
And share what you know.
Share what you know.
Yes.
Don't be afraid.
And I think Mr. Bob Fenners feels the same way. This is one glorious photograph they blew up. Something else.
And my microphone was off. Anyways, okay, so that was Mr. Walt Smith. You can catch his full lecture at last year's Magna, and I'm sure pretty soon his lecture that I missed because my fucking back caved on me. Such a pain in the ass, cripple fucking bullshit. So yeah, I was a bit awestruck there, and I was just talking to him for like 5 minutes, and he was like, and I said something that, man, nobody's even gonna believe that I got to talk to you, man. Like that's how cool you are. Like, you know. And he's like, well, you got a camera? And obviously I was holding one right in my freaking hand right there, so he turned it on. Let me, you know, be a dork. But you can go BRS TV here on YouTube has his lecture from last year's Magna, and they're gonna have his lecture from this year's Magna, which I couldn't fucking make it because it was at 5 p.m. and my back gave out about 3. And that really sucked because I still had to drive us home 2 hours. But he is Mr. Fiji himself, okay? And basically what he's the original live rock importer. He's the guy who made the reefing hobby possible. I don't know if I said that since I unmuted or not, but say it again. He's the guy who made, like, keeping a coral reef in your fucking home possible. Back in the day, if you wanted live rock, you had to go to the beach. And he set up shop in Fiji and set up a sustainable collection practice that has been modeled after over and over again ever since. And like the original coral, anemones, like all the stuff that we used to get back in the early and mid 90s, that all came from Walt Smith. So needless to say, he's got some wisdom and experience that is very beneficial to anyone wanting to get into the hobby, or especially get into the business. Walt Smith. Alright, you want to see some coral? I guess I could show you some coral. There's always the legendary worldwide corals. Check this out. So yeah, I don't know if that song is copyrighted, so I muted the video. One of the ones that I wanted to edit before I uploaded. There was a DJ doing it, so I don't know. It might be mixed enough to where it doesn't flag, but I'm not going to take the chance. So that's a worldwide corals frag tank, man. These are basically the guys that when I get my store, I will be calling to send me frags that I can grow out to sell, you know, corals. Now obviously I already have a nice little selection in my top tank to get started with, and despite those 2 bleaching, the rest of them are actually growing like crazy, and I'm pretty pleased. Yeah, my camera was keeping up pretty well too, huh? Got some good shots. I'm gonna need to start trying to broadcast earlier in the evenings or something, because Joey's working at a new job now. I almost gave it away. I don't want to do that, but let's just say I'm almost as happy as he is. He lucked out. And he doesn't work for a fucking prison in New Jersey anymore, so that's good. But like, he's working regular day shifts now, so he's got to go to bed earlier than I wind up broadcasting, and he's at work by the time I'm doing my morning broadcast. So we'll just see Joey on the weekends from now on. Maybe he'll pop in the evening. There are probably about 12,000 known species of coral, probably another 8,000 unknown. And what you're looking at right there pretty much is one off. Each one of those is a different coral. Worldwide Corals, they know how to work their shit, and they probably have a truck and like will sit there and restock their displays, whereas some of the other, oops, wrong thing. Some of the other ones will sit there and fuck, I can play that one again. Some of the other ones have like multiples of the same kind of coral. I don't see a whole lot of repetition in this stock, unless they just got them spaced out so brilliantly that you can't even tell. But it really does just look like every one of those is a different kind of coral. They might have like 3 of each or something there. Just God. That green monster acro right there, a couple of people had that. That's apparently seriously in style or whatever. Going for $85 a frag. Like I paid, what was it, $212 or $226 that Rick charged me for all the coral I took home. I got, well over $1,000 in coral. And now I'm broke again, asking for donations on the channel again. But I have stock for the store. And I made some really good contacts while I was there. Obviously, that was the president of Sustainable Aquatics that was just talking to me just then. That was nice. And talked to the, I had some even better conversations. They kind of evolved, you know, with a slightly even bigger honcho. But I'm not going to disclose that because I might be winding up doing some serious business with him. But guys, I'm disabled and I still spend all my time either like trying to further my fish tank enterprise or broadcasting for y'all and trying to save the world and whatnot, you know, just little things. And we're going broke, just letting y'all know. When we're doing it okay, I let y'all know so y'all don't send anything you don't need to. But I'm just letting y'all know we're broke again. If we didn't get free parking and no hotel deposit, Macno wouldn't have fucking happened. Like we almost wound up getting the choice to either sleep in our car or like crash my sister's fucking party that she was having that night. She planned it in advance. But like we would have been like struggling to find a place, scrambling to find a place to stay, because the lady at the hotel wanted a debit card. We had $15 in the bank. We had like $50 on us. By the time we had left there, I think we had, between the bank and what cash we had left, $23 to our name, and then got gas and a pack of cigarettes for the ride home. Anyways, I did get my Rod's Food shirt though, so that made me happy. And I got some free food and some free chemipure for the babies. I got some free flake food. I was almost out of flake food for Squirmy, the little tiny baby in the other room. Oh, and speaking of babies, speaking of clownfish babies, here, you want to see some real eye candy?
I'm the only one who does.
Yeah.
I'm the only fish breeder I know of. Every time I've talked to somebody, they said, "Oh, I tried that once, couldn't get any to survive."
Yeah.
I
You know the story?
I have nothing but true.
Let me know if that's feeding back. I actually have my my laptop speakers turned up to where I can hear them. But yes, as you can see, here is the ORA, that's Ocean Reefs and Aquarium, which is by far the most successful, amazing aquaculturalist there is. He didn't breed in conspicuous angels, but their efficiency as a facility is just downright impressive. And just the pure amount of stuff, like that clam in the corner, he grew that clam from nothing. The guy at ORA, and he's my age too. He's cool. Kind of want to watch that again. Greedy clownfish everywhere. That's basically one of, or maybe two or so, of every clownfish they breed, I think. Every species of clown there is. Gold nuggets, platinums, frostbites, premium Picasso right there in the middle. Clarkies, tomatoes, saddles, black accelerus, brown accelerus, regular accelerus, snowflake accelerus. Skunk clown. Those red ones that I forget the name of because they're really rare and they basically only just got into the hobby now. I think it's like a Palmer's clownfish or some crap like that. I forget. Black ice right there in the middle, in the front down there. Snow ice. Domino. Yeah, that's a whole lot of clams. I mean, a whole lot of clownfish. I read the big clam thing. He's got a couple clams in there here and there. That's one of the things they've been like really credited for is their ability to sexually breed and rear tridacta clams, which are those really beautiful, like coralline, glowing like looking clams that you see in really nice reef tanks. Okay, so not sure exactly what else all these other ones are. Let me see. Alright, so now we're in a booth. There we go. Now you want to look at some more pretty corals? Alright, so now we're in a booth called Corals Depot. And they attracted my attention because of this. Check it out.
That's perfect cell phone stand. Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's really a good time for me to be here. That's the only thing I'm left to do is I got to purchase some sand and rocks. So I've already got everything else.
There are not a lot of stores, huh?
No, there's one in the whole state. Oh wow. That name of that business is Triad Reaper. He's in Greensboro, so we have to travel about 60 miles.
Acans and Montes.
There's nothing within a 60-mile range. But yeah, I do a lot of online.
It's nice to have every 2-week guarantee, right? It's live experience, so that's pretty nice. No local fish stores in California. Nice in 2 weeks.
What's the name? Like, unlike my fish sell to them.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we got that very opportunity rider on.
What are these guys right here? Is it
those are the bounce mushrooms. Yes. Something like that. It's 15
that was a bounce in water.
Small little frag.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
Super bright.
Yes. I like that stuff.
Gorgeous.
But they do have really long shelf life. They all are individual packets, so each test has their own treatment.
So where are you at?
LA.
We're going to actually see that application.
There's a few of us.
All the tests are always 50 bucks, 25. Getting green, so a couple greens.
All right, thank you guys. Enjoy the show.
Works out with that. I mean, it's definitely a big problem we had was people weren't using, you're working around
Zoas galore. What's that little guy?
Go out tonight. We have to watch this fight.
Is that a mushroom? Oh yeah, there were Artisan guys talking about the fight.
That's tonight? Yeah. That's awesome. You guys have nice stuff, man.
This is just eye candy. I love it.
Oh, it's in that.
Oh, and it's the bounce mushrooms. Oh, cool. I haven't seen those yet.
Yeah, sure.
Look at that. And what are the bounces going for?
600 to 2,000.
$600 to $2,000. What would you do with that bounce? Those mushrooms with little yellow. It's like, what would you do with that bounce?
Keep going. Just keep going.
I've been keeping for over 30 years now. I'm friend with a local fish store. I used to go clean out the frags that fell. That's how that was my goal.
There you go. Stuff grows.
I'm pretty sure Hercules to keep it that way. Humans. If you want to fuck something up, you got to be able to fix it. If you don't know how to fix something, don't use it. Simple logic. Alright, let's see what else we got here.
So what I'm starting to realize is there is more crap here that I could possibly keep track of or catalog. This is absolute insanity. I mean, I'm still looking for title garden. But like, crazy. And they're everywhere. There's 50 different guys with just better frags than anybody could see 10 minutes. That's a nice piece.
That's by the kayak.
Hello there.
By Starbucks.
That's good.
Oh, and that looks like a bunch of stuff I gave away once.
I like that fish. Right? I'm loving the fish. Where'd you get that from?
Here, I'm tired of getting headaches every time I put my hand on my tank.
The last,
Yeah, down on like the last aisle over. About this, in this type of area.
like literally this aisle.
That's a jawbreaker. It's like a new strand of jawbreaker.
This aisle.
But they're
Usually they don't
might
have
even
all that red. Your face, you might get stuff. These just come already like
yeah, I got all that. And tomorrow.
What is this little purpley rosy looking Monty?
I know that you can have it. You can have it.
So yeah, the like an entire hall of the convention center, just booth after booth, manufacturers and coral distributors and shops and websites like that set up little booths of all the products that they carry. And they had a bunch of the corals that I have. One of the ones that I thought was a Monty is actually a Parietes. And I forget, there's another name I got from him. I need to watch the video on full volume. I just didn't want to blast all that noise into the stream there. But I was sitting there asking him, like, wait, I have that. What is that called? I need to know what that is. I own it. And those are called macrozoas. Look how giant they are. Those are like those button polyps that I have. They look like toadstools. So yeah, don't think that reef guys are people who just like throw a bunch of crap in a tank and it dies and they're killing stuff. This shit's expensive. People generally don't put it in their tank unless they can properly care for it. People aren't going to pay $40 for, you know, a head of coral, a little tiny piece of coral. Not even a head, not even a big piece of coral, just a little tiny piece of coral. $40, $90, okay. Even $10. $10 is a lot to spend on something that's just gonna turn to mush, you know. You don't want to just pay $10 for something that just you look at it for a few days until it dies. People who spend that kind of money on those frags have spent probably $1,000 or more on their systems. And it's becoming more and more actual that reef aquariums are better environments than the ocean. Because with global warming, with pollution, with farm runoff, in fact, the increased carbon dioxide levels, here's something that I need to discuss that nobody has discussed yet. The increased carbon dioxide levels that are causing global warming are lowering the pH of the ocean. That is causing additional just problems. There are corals, many of the corals that you just saw will die from pH fluctuation alone, let alone pH fluctuation that comes with nitrate and phosphate increase, and God forbid a fucking temperature spike. So if you want evidence that carbon dioxide is bad, carbon dioxide will destroy the oceans as you know them. Carbon dioxide causes a chain reaction in seawater that can lead to basically oxygen deprived, like just vast areas. Like, okay, my aquariums, for instance. One of the reasons why my anemones don't look quite so good is because of all the fish that I have. Actually, my anemones are looking better now because I've got all that plant consuming. Oh, because you're not hearing Walt Smith on the news. You're not hearing. Look, go to BRS TV. Okay. Just search BRS TV Magna lecture, maybe. 2016. And there's a bunch of different lectures from people like Bob Fenner and Walt Smith that talk about, just what we can do and what people in the hobby can do to help spread the word, and how spreading the hobby can spread the word. And, I feel kind of awkward saying this, but I don't think it should really come as a shock to y'all. But as far as experts in the hobby go, I'm right up there with these guys. Just nobody knows it. Because while I started keeping saltwater reefs after, being a tide pool collector when I was 4 and 5 years old, I also had a shitty childhood and, grew up in a fucked up family and wound up paying my own rent through my last 2 years of high school and wound up homeless and you know, it's kind of hard to be like a famous person when you're just trying not to want to kill yourself half the time. You know? But anyways, the whole idea that carbon dioxide, you can look that up. Carbon dioxide affects the pH of seawater, okay? And that's because it consumes the ionized calcium in the water and turns it into precipitous calcium carbonate. So the first stage of a dead spot often looks like just cloudy, white cloudy water. Okay. And that's you got a high carbon dioxide level, a low oxygen level, and the calcium, which is, you're talking 20% of the chemicals in the water that make salt water is calcium carbonate. Okay, so the carbon dioxide in the water is now bonding with the ionized calcium, or excuse me, it's the coral, you know, that's made of calcium carbonate. The solid rock is made of calcium carbonate. I'm talking about ionized calcium, and it's, shit, I have to get one of my bottles to read out all the different calcium ions. But those ions bond with the carbon dioxide and become precipitous calcium carbonate. And that clouds up your water and lowers your pH. It does it in a fish tank. It does it in a controlled environment. So you can bet your ass it's doing it to the ocean. And here, the whole idea that global warming is what's causing corals to bleach. It's not silly. Like, it's certainly well meant, but it's not the entire factor. It's not the whole story. And it's a weak focus, but at the same time it seems like a looser argument, almost a safer argument, you know, and there you come with the paranoia of who is allowed to be successful, you know what I'm saying? So if you are observing a bleaching event in the wild, and you're taking readings and you think those readings are consistent, chances are those readings are simply inaccurate. And what's happening is, say if you're taking the salinity at the surface of the water, or if you're taking the salinity once a day, something is happening to that salinity, or nitrate, or phosphate, some level that you're testing, and you're not detecting it for whatever reason. The thing is, most corals can sit out of water for a couple of hours at a time in the hot sun without dying. Let me repeat that. Most corals can sit out of the water in the hot sun for 45 minutes, half an hour, hour and a half, and depending on the species, hard corals up to 6-7 hours. You're talking like an entire low tide swath, right? And they can just stay on their rocks and hold in their moisture inside their bodies and their outside skin will dry up a little bit. That's why you often see like sea anemones come in with really leathery outside bases, because they'll live right up there where they can get a whole lot of sun, and oftentimes that's on a rock that gets exposed during low tide. That's where corals like to grow. So it's not just heat. It's a combination of factors. It all boils down to the zooxanthellae, which is the microscopic algae that lives inside of anemones and corals and basically does their photosynthesis for them. Okay, and obviously when you're dealing with photosynthesis, you're dealing with what two chemicals? Nitrate and phosphate. So in addition to the algae problem that occurs from increased nitrate and phosphate being dumped in the water, as that gets reduced by the algae and still eventually makes it to the coral reefs in trace amounts, okay, but double or triple the trace amount that used to be there. You see? See, a coral needs a little bit of nitrate, a little bit of phosphate, because it's got to photosynthesize, doesn't it? But when that trace amount of nitrate or phosphate is, you know, augmented, you wind up with a situation where the zooxanthellae inside of the coral, oh, look at that, did it go? Did it changed, they changed my damn webcam settings. Anyway, the zooxanthellae inside of the coral is overproducing, over-reproducing. And, you know, there's a certain decay rate that the fluid circulation system, kind of like its bloodstream, within the structure of the coral can deal with. Okay? And that's just a matter of chemistry. If there's more waste in there than it can deal with, that is, decomposing zooxanthellae cells causing ammonia, okay, the ammonia will build up inside the coral, and that's not good. That will melt the fucking coral. So before the coral will just sit there and melt itself, it ejects all of the zooxanthellae, and that's why it turns white. And it doesn't actually eject all of the zooxanthellae, but what happens is oftentimes it'll do it adapting to a change in environment and adapting at that point to the most extreme level of that environment, and then when it cools off again, you know, when it goes back to what used to be ideal, then it can't sustain itself because it's no longer experiencing that increased metabolic activity. So the bleached skeleton only has a little bit of zooxanthellae, which would have been able to overproduce just fine should the temperature spike have remained that way, okay? But it's the fluctuations that wind up killing it. And then the whole coral skeleton starves and dies. Ah. I'm not going to read that one out loud either. But yeah, I was even talking to Walt Smith about some of my ideas on And he said that he's going to talk about some of that, like he was already going to include it in his presentation for MAC 2017. But I still haven't seen his presentation yet, so I don't know. And maybe I gave him a couple ideas, and he added those to the presentation. Maybe. Hopefully. But, what I was focusing on in my conversation with him, knowing how influential he could be, is my idea about the river mouths. Addressing the phosphate issue at the river mouths. And basically adjusting salinity and pH and compensating for all that, and doing like what I've done in my aquarium and planting sufficient amounts of macroalgae and keeping the phosphate and nitrate levels under control to where they won't get overgrown with algae, that keeps the carbon dioxide level in check, keeps the pH up, keeps the corals alive, keeps the fish happy, colored brightly. And that sense that the water is full of life. That's the way the ocean used to smell when you were a kid. Okay, that's alkalinity. Yeah, kind of like alchemists. Alkalinity. Alchemy. Alkaline. Alkalinity refers to the crispness of the ocean. And what that is what is the chemical content of that water? Is it high in phosphates and nitrates and gooey proteins that grow from that and slimy and stinky? Or is it high in oxygen and low in carbon dioxide so those chemicals can maintain their ionic properties and be absorbed by corals and fish skeletons, and everything's just beautiful and alive, and as alive as it can be? Anyways, so what y'all say we watch some news? Y'all got any more questions about that kind of stuff? I sure don't mind answering. Oh boy, Alex Jones is live on InfoWars covering Hurricane Harvey. Only took him a fucking week, huh? But that crazy motherfucker, who basically never even says anything interesting, like, that isn't just stupid, okay? I at least say interesting stuff on here. This is at least an interesting channel, you know? You'd think I had more than fucking 3 people watching, okay? That's all I'm saying. Alex Jones, fucking obese turtle man, fucking 775 people watching that fucking bullfrog looking bitch just troll people. All he fucking does, he's just a goddamn troll. I'm sitting there trying to teach people how to save the world. 3 viewers. That's bullshit. Doesn't say anything about the world other than that they're not allowed to see me like they should be if I was simply promoted the way any other new and interesting channel would be by YouTube. People get promoted by YouTube all the time. I even got promoted by YouTube just a little bit before they figured out that I was talking about Russia. Alright, so yeah, that's not the first time they've covered Antifa on MSNBC. But, you know, since you stupid bitches don't seem to be able to fucking learn anything. Antifa is the typical example of a Russian-backed left-wing provocateur group, okay? And they brainwash little fucking kids and make them think they're doing shit that's worthwhile, and no. Where'd they get them damn flags, okay? Where'd they all get that whole thing from? Why'd it come up when it did? They ought to be registered as a fucking Trump PAC. For fuck's sake. That's what you call being counterproductive. That's all I'm saying.
I would say
Cajun Navy.
Probably more. We were checking out the license plates. We saw Oklahoma, Nebraska, states all over the country, and these were crews coming in. They had trucks, they had generators. So reinforcements are headed to our city, although I will say a lot of the vehicles were sedans that frankly won't be able to navigate a lot of the roads here. But there were also a lot of high water vehicles traveling along with that convoy, and to all of the first responders, everyone coming in. We're talking police, fire, sheriff, Coast Guard, National Guard, state troopers, also the energy crews who I have seen firsthand rescuing people. Thank you. Thank you so much for everything you're doing. Thank you to the neighbors who may or may not have water in their homes, but they're coming out here doing anything they can to help fellow residents. The good news is you're not seeing a lot of boats here in the staging area right now. That means they are out there. They are getting people, and they're doing it as fast as they can. So as you heard that officer say, please be patient. I know it has got to be terrifying. You're watching the water rise, but help is coming. Just try to flag them down. If you have a flashlight, blink it to get their attention. If you could stand by or open a window, flag them down. If you see them driving by, holler at them. They might not be able to hear you. Some of these boats are pretty loud, especially the airboats that are out there, but they're trying to get to everyone. What you're looking at is just heartbreaking. Your mom, 2 sons, her dog, kissing them. So grateful they're okay. I can only imagine. These kids, you know, barefoot, getting out with what they could. I don't see a backpack or anything on her. So they likely just she grabbed her kids, grabbed her dog, and I'm gonna pop over and see if I can talk to her really quickly. Hey there, ma'am. I'm so sorry. I'm with KHOU. What's your name?
Dawn.
Dawn. Are these your little boys?
Yes, this is Liam and Charles.
I'm so glad you all are safe.
Oh, absolutely. We were trying to wait it out because we live in a 3-story house, but the water since this morning at 6 a.m. has just been rising faster and faster, and we decided at the last minute to leave.
You guys want to say hi?
Hi. Hi.
You guys took a boat ride? You took a boat ride here? How was the boat ride? Good?
How was the boat ride?
Good. You guys happy to be over here?
Yes, we are. I was saying the first responders were great. They were talking to the boys and trying to kind of get them to escape the reality of things, telling them, oh, it's a fun boat ride, and, you know, tell them things about the boat, and you know, they're awesome. I can't say enough about the first responders. They're wonderful, really.
I mean, as a mom, I'm sure you were scared.
Absolutely. You know, you get to that moment where you have to make that tough call. Do we wait it out and see how high the water's going to get, or do we get out now? And for me, it came down to being safe and sorry. You know, and 2 little boys and a dog, how could I manage, right? So luckily they came right up to our door to help us out.
Well, again, thank goodness you guys are safe. I'll let you get in. They have shelters set up along here.
Thank you guys for your work. I've been watching you on Facebook because I haven't had any power. I've been watching you on Facebook, so thank you.
Oh,
thank you guys for what you guys do.
Thank you so much, Dawn. I know the first responders get absolutely a lot of credit, but I want to reiterate what she just said. To all of you guys back in the studio, you've evacuated our building because it was flooded, and you guys are making do, and it's been incredible. And as you just heard, you guys are helping let people know what the conditions are like so that they can get out, so that they can make that call. It's a tough one. As she said, it's a difficult decision. Do you leave everything? Do you leave your home? Do you leave the safety? It's dry there. Or do you get out while the water is still rising? And kudos to our team, for everyone there, Cheetah, Darby, Russ, Lisa, and the other crews that have cycled through. You guys are making a difference, and I know it's a challenge for y'all there. But you played a role in possibly saving Dawn and her sons as well. So going back to this rescue scene, we're seeing more boats come in. A lot of pets coming too. We've seen a lot of pet carriers. A lot of folks carrying their pups through. Oh.
Veterinarian here help checking the pet. Notice every single pet that comes, it has absolute trust in its owner. It's amazing. There's nothing stronger than the pet-animal bond. So just kind of notice that. I wanted to mention that. It's amazing.
No. So what was your name, sir?
I'm Dr. Abear. Yeah.
Dr. Abear.
Yeah.
And you work here at Detroit?
Yeah, I've got North Park Animal Hospital.
Do you live here as well?
Yes, I do.
How is your home?
My house is okay. We've got another 2 feet. We've got 2 feet to spare. So we're okay.
And you're out here just trying to help, or are you trying to look out for the pets?
I'm trying to help. Yeah.
Do you know, maybe you could answer this for us, because I know it was a question Lisa had, a lot of the shelters along here. Do you know if they're taking in pets? I know some do, some don't.
Some are, yeah. And we've got a little room at my hospital, North Park Animal Hospital. We've got room for emergency boarders too. If they call our number, the answering service will find me.
Can you give folks that number?
Sure, it's 281-360-1500.
Repeat that again for me, just because I want people to have time to write it
down. Sure, 281-360-1500.
And that's North Park Veterinary Hospital.
North Park Animal Hospital.
Okay, terrific. Thank you so much for all you guys are doing out here. So you just heard from a veterinarian, North Park Animal Hospital. Some shelters, he says, along Lake Houston Parkway are taking in pets. Not all are. Lisa, you explained that just a bit ago. He also offered up that phone number. I'm sorry, I don't have it on hand, but he says if you look it up, if you can Google North Park Animal Hospital, they do have some spots available for emergency. They do have some emergency spots.
Randy, we have to interrupt you there. Mayor Turner is speaking here. We want to get an update on what's happening here in Houston. Let's go to that press conference now.
Get in safely. Working at the shelters would be very, very much appreciated. We need their assistance. But in terms of returning to work, we will continue to operate with just essential personnel through tomorrow. We are still planning on having our regular city council meeting on tomorrow. That will take place, but only essential personnel. With respect to shelters, of course, at the George R. Brown now, we have expanded our capacity. Initially, we had capped it at 5,000, and now have gone beyond 9,000. We are looking for other shelter locations. In fact, we have identified a couple of other mega shelters locations. I'm not going to announce it right at this time, but that announcement will be forthcoming. I want them to get set up first, and then I'll be meeting also with County Judge Emmett sometime around 12:30, where we'll make a joint announcement with respect to an additional shelter. But there are additional going to be set up. The reality is that not only are we providing shelter, but we're also providing shelters for people who are coming up. We've certainly made the official request to FEMA. We need additional assistance, and so we've asked them to provide supplies and cots, food for an additional 10,000 individuals. And hopefully those supplies will get here as soon as possible. At the latest, we hope that, no later than sometime tomorrow. If before then, it certainly is needed even before then. But we are asking for an additional 10,000. Quite frankly, in many ways, the city of Houston Harris County is serving more of also as a kind of like a regional sort of hub. So we not only are taking care of people from the city of Houston, but we also are accommodating people who are coming in from other areas. So additional announcement on the shelters will be forthcoming probably in the next few hours. We just need them to set up. But yesterday, you an update on rescues and other related matters as it relates to law enforcement. Chief Osprey.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning. This overnight department continued to operate throughout the city, conducting search and rescue. Our rescues, the last count was well over 3,500 folks have been rescued. We've also, again, it's really important for the community to know that we're not just in a search and rescue mode. We're still in a law enforcement and public safety mode. So last night we actually had some arrests. To people that would take advantage of individuals. This is the state of Texas, and we're a welcoming city, but we are not going to tolerate people victimizing, especially committing armed robberies of our community. We're going to catch you, and I promise you this. We are going to push hard. I've talked to the district attorney to seek the fullest, two things, the fullest prosecution possible available for any crime that's committed, and secondly, we're going to urge juries and judges to give you the most toughest sentence that you can possibly get. So word to the wise, don't come to Houston because you're going to be caught. And I guarantee you, when you take advantage, including our own criminal element here, you take advantage of people and prey on them in these circumstances, that's despicable behavior. And we're all going to push hard to make sure you don't see the sunlight anytime soon. So we've got armed robbers last night, the middle of the night. We have resources coming throughout the state of Texas from other major cities. They are already in the AOR. We're beginning to task them. We're beginning to give them specific missions. They will be doing first, they will be conducting security at some of continue to sleep in the stations. They will be continuing to sleep in these stations throughout the response phase. We are still in the response phase, and we probably will not be moving towards recovery. Firefighters, but all of our city employees at this mayor lead that no one's left their post. They're out doing their job, and so we're fully functional. We're still trying to get to folks, and again, like we said yesterday, don't give up on us. Seek the higher ground. We will get to you. We have assets. At every passing hour, more boats are getting into the water. Every passing hour, more high water rescue vehicles have come into the theater. And please know, one of the delays that this is a catastrophic event that I don't think we've seen when the Weather Channel starts creating a new color for rainfall. An event that's never occurred. And so with that,
certainly want to thank other cities, Mayor up to about 8,000 individuals who are coming from the surrounding areas, the surrounding counties like Galveston and others. And so I want to thank them. Mayor Allen and Austin is also setting up to receive people from the region. And so I want to acknowledge him, and then the mayor of San Antonio who extended his hand. So we want to thank all of our partners, mayors, and other cities throughout the area and throughout the country for their support. Let me also now call on Fire Chief Sam Pena for his status report.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everybody. We have we've augmented our deployment team. Our boat teams with members of the Texas Task Force 1. Since this event began 3 days ago. We have some crews that are going on their is to go ahead and establish operational periods, and there'll be some periods where we have less firefighters in the game, so to speak, because they are placed out of service to rest for a few hours, and then brought back in, and we're rotating crews that way. It's difficult for us to bring in 800 individuals to replace the people that are on duty, because based on command staff recommendation, we've decided to manage the resources that we have on scene, and as we're able to bring in fresh crews from off duty, we're doing so. But our operational profile remains the same. We are in a rescue phase at this point. We'll continue to do so until we've ensured that we've serviced every call for rescue that's come into the 911 center. Thank you.
An added note on rescues and that is, Kingwood will be a focal point for today. We will continue to work on all of the areas, but Kingwood will be a focal point because there's more water that's coming into the area. So in terms of water rescues in the King. And so water rescues are taking place at the enclave, Barrington in Kingwood, in Kingwood, which is closest to Lake Houston, as well as far as Gardens. Water rescues are out there. I know the fire department and the police department are sending additional assets in that area to the people in Kingwood, and they are taken to Creekwood Middle School. It's a Red Cross, we call Lily Pad, to get them the area for now. The next 24 hours, I think, for water rescue are taking place in Kingwood, at Enclave, Barrington. They're taking place in Kingwood, at Enclave, Barrington, in the city of Houston. We're focused on whether it's this area, whether it's in the and so I certainly want to thank again the first responders, police, and fire for being out there 24/7, not just during the daytime, but some of the most hazardous. Asking all Houstonians to stay off the street, but our first responders are on the streets, and they are on the street.
Oh, okay. So, what the hell just happened to my fucking YouTube here? Did it just restart? What the fuck just happened? I'm sitting here trying to send somebody a text message. What just happened? Hi, Emily. Last night's broadcast, the late night one, wasn't nothing spectacular. I just watched the Rachel Maddow thing, and then I fell asleep. So, you know, don't watch it beyond the Rachel Maddow show. Anyway, I was very tired. Still haven't really quite caught up on sleep, falling behind again. And now I'm sitting here trying to email a rich guy about some business.
Joining us now on the phone is Houston Fire Chief Samuel Pena. Chief, thank you so much for talking with us. I know you're very, very busy. Yesterday, the mayor said that there were close to 200 critical rescues still pending, but hope to have those completed by the end of the day. Where does that number stand?
Yes, good morning. Thanks for having me. I tell you that we've addressed those calls that were pending, but you know, there was additional calls that filled the vacuum. So we have, as far as the Houston Fire Department on our queue, and we're working in conjunction with the police department to address the demand. We have approximately 1,000 calls that are pending, that are in the queue, and as soon as we address some of those that have been there, you know, we get additional calls coming in. So the list has been consistent, and it's just logistically, it's a matter of getting access into the areas, and because some of them are not accessible other than by boat.
And I can imagine your people are exhausted. It's not just a matter of getting into the areas, but just keeping your manpower up. The rain is going to continue to come down. More flooding is expected. What preparations do you have in place? Because you're going to continue to get these calls.
Exactly. No, and you know, it's just been wave after wave after wave after wave of heavy downpour, and so it's not letting up. We have different areas that are being affected now, and you know, yes, we're experiencing some fatigue, and you know, some of these crews have been there for over 2 days. You know, and it's a matter of not being able to get crews in because they can't get in, and even if they could, we couldn't deploy them to the areas where we needed them logistically. You know, so that's something that we're managing at this point. We're rotating crews. We're giving them you know, rest throughout the day, but it's very limited because the demand is so high right now. We've as of midnight, we've run over 700 calls from midnight to now.
Wow.
Yesterday, in a 24-hour period, we ran close to 3,600 calls for service. Over 2,000 of those were water related.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's and you know, again, there's areas of town now that are being affected, and we deployed resource in there and try to get them. You know, we're trying to anticipate the next area that's going to be affected, so we try to move resources in there before the roads become impassable. But at some point, they're essentially cut off. You know, and it takes us more time to deploy resources into those areas. But yeah, the fire department, the Houston Fire Department, and the Houston Police Department, as well as all the other municipal workers and the community, has been incredible. They work tirelessly. You know, a crisis certainly brings out the best qualities in humans, and you know, there's a lot of items that we can show to display that.
Yeah, I mean, nobody messes with Texas, even Harvey. There was that picture that has gone viral of that Harris County sheriff who just sort of passed out after doing water rescues over the course of 12 hours. The question for you, Chief, is how are your guys doing? How is your team doing? Because you're going to need assistance from both the state and the federal government. And do you have what you need?
Correct. Yeah, well, you know what? Our guys our men and women of the Houston Fire Department are performing admirably and heroically every day, and that's just not a saying. They have done incredible work. As I mentioned, some of them have been on duty since Saturday, and yeah, so they're exhausted. Some of them, you know, have flooding of their own in their homes, and they haven't even been able to go out and attend personally to their family needs. And so, you know, my hat is off to them. I'm incredibly proud of the work that they've done. But I can tell you that as far as resources, we do have a huge commitment from the state and federal government as far as resources. We have Texas Task Force 1 here. We have 12 teams from FEMA USAR teams. And they brought personnel and they brought equipment, which is, you know, high water equipment and boats, which is what we need right now.
That's the stuff you really need. And I know it's all hands on deck. You've actually been going out personally on some of these rescues. What have you been seeing when you head out into these neighborhoods? These are people that have probably been waiting for a couple of days to see somebody come by. Tell us a couple stories.
Exactly. You know, it's really heartbreaking. You know, it's total devastation. You know, we have three main shelters that we're using here in the city of Houston. The George R. Brown Convention Center. The capacity is 5,000. We're at 9,000, over 9,000 right now. Two other centers that we have several thousand people in them as well, and they show up, you know, with nothing but the clothes on their back, and that clothes is wet. And you know, but the incredible outpouring of support from the community, even those that have, because everybody's experiencing some loss, has been incredible. The community has stepped up. They've provided food to some of the fire stations when they can get to them. And you know, the donations for the shelters has been incredible. We can always use more. And the Red Cross has been doing yeoman's work on this. But yeah, I'm you know, on one hand it's devastating. On the other hand, it's uplifting to see the community come together and address this.
Well, we've been watching a lot of video and seeing the hard work of your men and women, and so impressed. Houston Fire Chief Samuel Pena, thank you so much. Our thoughts and prayers are with you.
Thank you very much.
Alright. I am sending a very complicated email. I apologize. I sent it. Fingers crossed. But I didn't fall asleep this time. So that's good, right? And whoever's still here, I'll make it up to you by playing another Magna video. Let's see here. Yeah. And it takes some pretty sophisticated wordsmithing too. Alright, let's see, what's that? What's that bowl thing right there? Life spectrum, okay. Did I get over to sustainable aquatics? Aww, one video does not work. That sucks. Aqueon. Oh man, I had the video Aqueon's display just because it looks so sad. Alright, so here I have the guys who made my wonderful new... No. This one's pretty cool. I was looking for a better one than that, though. You want to see some pretty jewelry, Emily? How about that? This is the jewelry they had at this point.
So that's just some cool stuff. That is so sweet. Oh, it's just painful. We had to come so broke, didn't we? So broke. We have Power Shell wedding day. We have Power Shell wedding day. Oh, those little fairy nudibranchs. Those things.
Right, that's pretty cool, huh? So that was at Magna 2017 down there in New Orleans. I had shown a few of these videos earlier, Emily. Let me just see if I can find something a little different. Is that the wander around in the middle?
Alright, so here I have the
Seaside Aquatics. This is the one right after.
So what I'm starting...
And... That's that one, that's that one, that's this one. Huh. Still feel like I'm missing some. Maybe I didn't hit record all the times I thought I hit record. Check this one out.
Okay, that was it. It's not...
There's the anemone.
That isn't that color.
It looks white.
How is that showing up pink on the flip? Really?
You seen this?
Yeah, it's really it's blowing.
That's for white.
Different filter. That's very neat.
Weird.
Any reason you got that flow up on the bottom like that?
What's that?
Is the flow on the bottom for visibility?
Yeah. Keep the ripples off the
Makes
top.
sense. I'm like, that's not right. Oh, okay. Show tank, Okay, so how much do you sell something like that for?
Everything in this tank's $35.
$35? I have one Monty frag that looks just like that.
Oh yeah.
It just kind of came out of a rock. That's the rainbow right there?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. That is what I have. I didn't know what to make of it at first. Like, why is this Monopora different colors? What are these guys in the back right here? The red ones?
They're little red flower pots. Red yellow.
That's a Ghani? Huh. I have a gigantic red Ghani and it just doesn't open up that much.
Yeah, they like new salt water. That's what I've found.
What's that?
Big water changes.
They like it?
Oh, y'all do.
The alkalinity, huh? They like the high alkalinity?
Yeah, I like that. But again, you know, you always have extra feed for that. Yeah, but right now it definitely just cut back your light cycles. Wherever you're running right now, take an additional hour or 2 hours off either end. It's not going to hurt your corals to go to 5
Rod's food here, get a free t-shirt.
right now. And that'll just get everything under control. Don't do any water changes.
I've already earned my free Rod's food t-shirt because I breed true Perkins.
Do I now?
I breed true Perkins. You should just give me a t-shirt.
Oh, talk to Rods, man.
I'm
He'll
going.
take care of you.
I've talked to him on the phone a few times.
Because right now you're
Yeah, he's still got shirts at the booth, man. Just go see him. He'll hook you up.
Where they at?
They're right, oh, kind of that way, kind of diagonally. Yeah, you'll see it. They got a double booth up towards the
Yep, so I wound up getting my free t-shirt from Rod. Anyways. So it looks like it's getting pretty late in the afternoon. I need to get some work done on my fish tanks and make sure I'm prepared outside for the next bout of rain that could come. But thanks for joining me. And I'm just gonna be sitting here watching the weather. And I don't know, should I leave the broadcast on? Or not? I think my internet's starting to slow down because of the midday traffic. I'm just going to go ahead and wrap it up. But anyway, it's been fun. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Please click the like button and blah blah, subscribe, dingy bell, blah blah. Donate to the blah blah, contribute, support the blah blah channel, blah. Yeah. Oh, you're gonna make me feel guilty now, Emily? Why is this window like, oh, I got my folder over there. I'm just all out of ideas there. And I need to get some sleep at some point. So have a good one. Y'all take it easy. Peace.
The way it treated me too many times before. Don't you know you love me, baby, too? Oh, you know I want you there, I wanna be right there with you. I know I gotta keep you by my side today I die. 'Cause baby, ecstasy is in my hand. Oh, when I'm holding yours in mine and walking in the sand. Oh, baby, you know it's fine. Oh, now you done and piss me off. You went and done something you shouldn't have done. Baby, I'm mad. I'm going on. Oh, I'm going on. I can't take a breath. I can't take